Now that we know the width of our binding, we need to figure out the length. This measurement is more of an approximation, as it's difficult to figure out how much extra fabric you'll need to turn these four corners and for the diagonal seams that you'll use when sewing the binding together. The first thing I need to do is measure around the outside edge of my quilt. This little table topper measures about 114 inches. Since my fabric is 45 inches, I need to cut at least 2.5 strips. So let me show you how I figured that out. My quilt size was 114 inches. The width of this fabric, my binding fabric, is 45. I divide 114 by 45, and that gives me the number of strips, which is about 2.5. Now, I'm going to need extra for turning those four corners and for those seams, and I figure out that I probably need at least 1/2 of a strip extra, and that gives me 3 strips that I'm going to need to cut. Now, I said I always like to add a little extra on top of that, so whatever I come up with, 3 strips, I add 1 extra strip. The strips aren't going to be that wide, only 2 inches to maybe 3 inches, so that's not much extra fabric to be adding. It really gives me the peace of mind knowing that I'm going to have more than enough when I'm working around my quilt. So I'll need to cut a total of 4 strips for this project.